got everything squared off, got all our measurements, so let's go cut this last final piece to go in the middle. Alright, so we got all of the joints all glassed up. Came out pretty good. It's hardening now, so got everything all filled in so that way there's no like open holes or cracks. Next thing we're going to be doing is lightly sanding everything down that we just placed, and then I have this big roll of fiberglass mat. I think it's like 3 feet wide by like 50 feet long. So basically we're gonna end up putting a couple strips. We'll probably end up doing maybe 2 on each side and then 1 down the middle, and then maybe doing a second layer on top. I'm still not entirely sure, but basically just gonna coat everything with this fiberglass mat. I have about, I don't know, 2.5 gallons left of resin, so that should be enough to get this all done, but that'll fully lock the floor in. Last thing we'll have to do is we're gonna have to, whoops, we're gonna have to trace that out and cut that out of the floor, so that way we have access to the big storage compartment we have down here in the middle. So that should be pretty easy. I just need to trace it. I already tried to, but it kept moving, so I ended up just waiting, but just got to hold it down on the ground and then trace it out, and then we'll be able to cut that out so we can lay in that grate back there. Still got to clean that up to get that all good to go, but floor's coming along good though. It's nice and solid. Everything's all locked in and screwed down. Nothing's moving right now, so once we throw the fiberglass in, we'll be pretty good. There is some like uneven edges like this right here. The new piece is a little bit higher than the older piece, so we'll just have to sand that down, make sure it's nice and smooth. But gonna let this harden overnight, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow, and hopefully we'll clean up the inside and start laying these big sheets of fiberglass. So clearly this table is obviously not big enough for this, so I'm basically marking every 24 inches and then making a little black mark here with the Sharpie, pulling that back down to the end here, and then measuring out another 24. It's obviously not going to be perfect, but should be close enough. Doesn't have to be perfect. When I took these measurements too, I did go a little bit over, so we're probably gonna have to trim some of this off in the boat anyway. I'd rather have too much than not enough. Plus we got a pretty decent amount left on the roll. After that, I'm just writing down the length that each one is, because I have 3 different sheets. One's 84 inches, one's 100, and one's 106. So basically just marking down each one, so that way when I get in the boat I know which one goes where, when I can go and roll it out inside the boat. Alright, I'm just going to go through and clean up some of these high spots before we lay down this next sheet. So a couple spots like this that stand out, so I'm just going to sand those down real quick. I think that's really the only. There's one over here. Let me get this real quick. Alright, well, tell you what, I am not looking forward to having to sand this whole deck down, but it is what it is, right? We're gonna have to smooth everything down, but there's a couple high spots from when we filled in all the cracks, so I just sanded those down. We're going to blow everything off. I got the sheets cut already, so we're gonna come in here and start mixing up some resin. I don't know how much of this I'm gonna be able to film, just because once I start going, I'm not gonna want to stop, obviously, because I don't want it to harden up on me. So I'll set the tripod up. I'll record as much of it as I can, but apologize if I miss a good bit of it. But I think we're gonna work on getting this all completely glassed in, and then I was also trying to think, like, once this whole floor is covered in fiberglass, I'm obviously not gonna be able to sit in here. So I think after we lay down the first layer across everything, probably gonna jump outside and maybe work on the trailer lights. I want to obviously keep working on it while it's hardening, but I gotta make sure that I give this stuff enough time to cure. So let's get rolling on this. We'll start laying this all down, and then we'll pick up from there. Alright, well, I think we got everything. We got all the fiberglass cut. I got some of this top strand here, just some extra stuff laying around. Don't plan on using it, but I don't want to need it and not have it. So got all that stuff ready. Some gloves. I got a little razor knife in case I gotta cut some I'm gonna have to notch some of this stuff back here around the back of it, so I'll cut that once it's in the boat. I think I'm actually going to lay the sheets out first and maybe do that trimming and that cutting, and then roll it back up, and then lay down the resin and do it again. So let's do that real quick before we start. All right, so this is the 84-inch one. This is the smallest one we got out of the 3. Cover this side. Oh man, this is gonna be a pain. So essentially, this is how this one's gonna lay. Actually, it doesn't hang over too much. I don't even think I'm gonna cut that one at all. I'll cut that one after it's in the boat. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna run out of room to stand pretty quick. I really don't want to do one sheet at a time and let it harden, because that's just going to take way too long. But if I fiberglass this sheet in and then I do the one on the left next, I'm not going to get down the middle of the boat to do the middle one. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. So that went, I guess, just about as good as I thought it would have went. I ran out of room very quickly. So back here is really, really sloppy. There's also 2 pieces of wood that are sticking up along the edge here that kind of messed it up and put some air bubbles in it. So I'm gonna let it harden and then I'll sand it down, then I'll put another little patch on top of that. But overall, I think it came out pretty good. I was planning on doing 3 sheets, 1 down the right, 1 down the left, and then 1 in the middle. Didn't realize that both of them were going to actually overlap a good bit. So I'm debating if I still want to do another sheet in the middle. I don't know. I might not, I'm not sure yet. But I'm going to let this harden. Everything's sticky, so I can't get inside the boat. I left my phone over there by the steering wheel, so now I can't even get to my phone. But I think we're going to let this harden and jump over and start working on the trailer lights. Alright, so believe it or not, these trailer lights do actually work. Clearly they need to be replaced. They're all smashed and cracked. So I did get a whole new set. We're going to be replacing, obviously, the tail lights. It's got these side marker lights up here. Those also worked on both sides. Nothing up there on the front. And then I need to figure out what we're going to be doing under here. I think legally, because of the width of it, it requires the middle light. But these aren't even hooked up. So, and with that roller there, it's gonna be a little hard to get one down there, but might be able to make it work. I do have all the new LED ones, so just went with the same style for the back. It's got the amber LED ones for the side. These ones came with the kit, but we're not going to be using those. And then I think I have, yep, here it is. Might try and see if we can use this back there for that middle light. So we will see what we can do. I also got a new connector for the front. It is a 5-pin because it has the trailer brakes on it. So it's got the little 5-pin connector. This one's not in too bad a shape. Biggest problem is it's pretty short. I forget which car it was. I think it was the truck. We actually had issues getting the wiring hooked up to it just because of the length of it. So gonna clean that up and make that a little bit longer. All right, so I made this little like 14 gauge, basically just like a jumper cable set, and I ended up using some of these quick connects on both ends, so that way I can swap out different like end pieces. So I have like sets that have these little claws, I have sets that have the little like probes off of like a multimeter, but that way I could set this up and I can try and check the lights on things, test power without having to hold everything there. So I have it hooked up right now to run the running lights. Let me go the other way. Looks like the connectors for the lights that are on there currently are the same connectors for the new lights. So we're just going to try and plug it in, see if the new LED ones work. Alright, so does the new light work? Yes. Let me see. So light works, but connectors are a little bit different sizes. So we're going to use these wires, but we're going to basically just cut it off and use this connector. They're just different sizes, so they're not going to fit on there. At least I don't think it will. Yeah, no, it's not going to fit. Alright, so we'll just cut it off and make it a little bit longer. I don't want to put too much extra wire in there because I don't want it really hanging down. So I'm probably going to cut these a little bit short. I want to make sure there's enough loose cable, but I also don't want it to be dangling down below the trailer. Alright, so we got those redone. Let's make sure it works. Yep. Throw this in. There we go. And I guess we'll do the stripes this way. Sweet. That looks good. Jeez, there's like no wire here. Sweet. All right, cool. Now let's jump on to the taillights. All right, so passenger side taillight. Got a bee's nest in it, so that's cool. Looks like these lights just have a bolt that goes into the back of them, so I'm gonna have to get underneath here and take a look at it. All right, so kind of cool how these new ones mount. So there's basically 3 holes in the back. Comes with these little studs, so you can basically put them wherever you want. Position the light wherever you want it on the trailer. So it's basically a universal fit. So these ones that are on there now, there's just 2 nuts on the back. Let me pop those off real quick. Alright, it would help if I had the right size socket. That one I just took off had the ground wire on it, which is why the light's not working now. So, old light is out. Again, wiring on this one's all good too, so we're going to reuse all this. Probably even going to reuse this piece. There is a good bit of extra slack, and I just needed to go to one of these terminals, so I'm going to cut this back a little bit. Usually whenever you do wiring, you want to leave yourself a bunch of extra slack, but again, like for this type of instance, I don't really have anywhere to hide it, so I don't want all that extra wire just dangling, and I really want to avoid having to like zip tie it all up. So in this instance, give yourself like the perfect amount. All right. Now let's see, and then real quick, while we have this out, so this is how the light was sitting in there. This new one's gonna go in this way. So it looks like we're gonna want to use. These two. I'm just trying to size up the studs to make sure it's in the same location. So if you line these 2 up, we use those 2. The one in the middle and the one on the left. Not the best position to do all this in, but I don't really have an option. I didn't really show you guys earlier, but the blinkers work too. So all I have to do is touch the power wire on that battery to the green wire to do the right blinker, and then to the yellow wire to do the driver's side blinker. So we'll wire it up and then I'll test it, but I knew before this that they worked, so that's why I didn't test it again. This side's gonna have a lot of loose wires, so I'm gonna have to zip tie some of them up. Sweet. Just pulled the whole wire out. Let me actually cut these down a little shorter. Thank you.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Appreciate it.
I got your dogs all tore up.
It's all good. You too. Alright, so we got everything wired up here. If we touch this ground wire to the trailer, we should have running lights. Which we do. Gonna have to grind that down a little bit so it has a better connection, but those are what the running lights look like. Alright, sweet. So there is our running light. I am going to go tap it onto the blinker. That way you can see what the blinker looks like for it. Cool. Right now I turned the running light off and just used, I left the blinker on. So that way I can see what it looks like too. So came out pretty good though. I like these taillights a lot. And I like the design of this trailer where it's got them, they're completely flush. And they're protected with obviously the metal steps. So all the time you see trailer lights that are all smashed up. So nice to see that these ones will be protected. But let's jump over and do the other side. Alright, so real quick we got this hooked up so you can see the lights. So you got your marker light right there. Same thing on this side. And then let's check out the tail lights. Passenger side works. Driver's side works. And Tennessee doesn't require license plates on trailers, but it does have a actually a really nice license plate light down here, so sweet. All right, cool. So we got both of the tail lights fixed. I think we're gonna hold off on this back middle light. It's gonna be hard for me to get down here, obviously, because the boat's on the trailer. But I don't even know if I'm gonna replace those. I might honestly just take these ones off. All right, but for now we'll switch up to the front and we will put on the new connector for the front of it. Stuff like this bothers me. Especially that. That's why I hate those connectors. The new ones I use are so much nicer. Alright, so obviously you don't want to cut the wire. You want to cut the wire as least as possible, but I'm going to redo all of these connections up top here. Why is there 6? Looks like they have 2 browns. Okay. All right, easy fix. But I'm gonna redo all these connections, and then I'm gonna cut this down at the end, and then obviously add in the new one. I'm gonna make it a lot longer. Not a lot longer, but enough. The vehicle you're pulling it with, you want to make sure you have enough wire to actually connect to your car that's pulling it. Some of them have, connections down here. Some of them are a little bit further up on the bumper, and then you also want to have room to turn. So I'm not going to make it crazy long, but I definitely want to make it a little bit longer. Alright, well the GoPro keeps dying because how hot it is out here, but I got all that stuff reconnected. We're going to pull this back a little bit, get an idea of how long we want this to be, and then put it in this new connector at the front. So I'd say probably, it's hard to get this on film, but that's probably way more than I'll need. So let's do that. Pretty much I'm just going to bring this back. I'll cut all these wires here, and then I'll reconnect all that there. Connection's all done. It's got a good bit of length to it now, so let's throw it in this loom here, and then we'll wrap it all up with electrical tape. There's no technique whatsoever to this. I'm literally just jamming it in there. It takes forever. Maybe there is one and I just don't know it. Alright, sweet. I thought this wasn't long enough, but it's actually too long. So let me grab a razor blade. Actually, I might be able to try and slide it down. Alright, cool. That's good. Alright, sweet. So we got that all finished up. We got it all wrapped up and wrapped in electrical tape. So now that is good. And I don't remember if I mentioned it before. This is a 5-pin. And in the beginning, I wasn't really sure why it was a 5-pin or what the reasoning was for. Difference between a 4 and a 5-pin is that blue wire. That blue wire is going to be your reverse lockout for the brakes. So basically, this has hydraulic brakes based off of the tongue. So as you hit the brake, the pressure of your vehicle stopping and the pressure of the trailer pushing against it, it has a little brake line that runs down the trailer, and there's actual brakes on one of the axles. This one only has it, looks like in the back axle. So obviously if you're in reverse, You can kind of see the brake line and the caliper there. So I still need to test that. I got to figure out how to test that and figure that out. I got to look into it a little bit more, but basically what that wire does is that way if you're in reverse and you're pushing backwards, it disables the brake, so that way you're not fighting the brakes on the trailer. So got the wiring all done. I think that almost is it for the trailer. Still need to test the brake and figure out how that works. This chain is not long enough, so I think it reaches on my Jeep. It actually doesn't reach on the pickup truck, so I'm gonna end up getting new chain and making that longer. Obviously you want to make sure that works, so still need to fix that. We'll do that at a later date. Test the brakes, we already talked about that. Put a new strap on here already, which is fine. I still need to really look over the bunks. They look like they're in pretty good shape. I can't really get to them obviously until boat's off the trailer, so that's going to be a little bit delayed. And then we really just got to mess with those lights down in the middle. I think I'm just going to go without them in the middle. I think I'm just going to take them off, remove all the wires, and just kind of leave it as is. I'm not going to need it. It'll be fine. And then floor is coming along really good. So still a little bit sticky in there, but overall coming together really nice. I do have some spots over on the left side that I need to redo. Showed you a little bit earlier, but down here and up there, there's some spots that are poking up a bit. So I'm gonna end up sanding that down and redoing it. And then I really just need to trim the edges of the fiberglass up around there. And then we can keep moving forward with that. So still gonna have to cut that middle part out so we can put that metal grate in. We'll start spreading the, I guess it's a fiberglass Bondo pretty much, or a marine Bondo. I got that. We're gonna have to smear that all over the place. Let that harden, then sand it down so we can get it ready for paint. All right, but I think that's gonna wrap up the video for today. It's like 105 degrees out here, so definitely don't want to be out here for too long, but we got a lot done in this video, a lot done today. So gonna go inside, go edit some videos and get that posted for you guys. So hope you guys are enjoying watching, and stay tuned for the next one.